So here's an interesting article from a mainstream site in the UK, and that is known as Express. Global financial crash months away. Bubbles are bursting every day, warns Yale academic. Financial bubbles across the globe are imploding, and the problem is only set to get worse, an academic from one of America's top universities has warned. So you have a Yale academic just now saying this. I'm sorry, how long have I been warning about this? Me and a bunch of other people. Here I am in my house. Didn't even go to college. Of course, taught myself how to program, do some stuff related to IT, thanks to the internet, without any student loan debt to ever pay back. Nonetheless, I'm not an academic. I'm just a bozo in his house doing videos who has been saying these things for years now. These cycles of 7, right? The final cycle of 7 has happened. It's time to clean house for the club. And I bet that the club thinks they're doing a service. They probably tell each other, we're doing a service to humanity. Create bubbles, they pop. People lose houses, they lose things. People have other land or property they own, they lose it because they weren't expecting this, and then someone else gets it. And when someone else gets it, that's the club ways of saying, hey, we're just doing our job. We're doing, as Goldman Sachs CEO Lloyd Blankfein once said, we're doing God's work. We're creating these bubbles. We're creating these catastrophes. We're creating depressions so that the board game, so to speak, can get reshuffled and restart over. Here's your new cards. Let's see what kind of hand you guys were dealt. Well, hold on a minute. I had a good hand last time. I just want to hang on to my... No, time to reshuffle. But the club, when the reshuffle happens, they always have an ace up their sleeve. You're not getting their property. You're not getting their stuff. So, I don't know why I'm ranting about that, honestly, but it's about time the folks from Yale caught up to the rest of us, conspiracy guys. Prices are falling around the world thanks to the collapse of China's debt-fueled economic growth, and this has triggered a succession of disastrous events that are starting to be realized, according to Vikram Mansaramani, an author and lecturer at Yale University. Fears are growing that the world could face a financial crash of unprecedented levels and could be just 6 months away. Bubbles created by the mountain of cheap money made available by low interest rates since the last financial crisis are now starting to burst, he said. He told CNBC, quote, "The bubbles are in the process of deflating. It all started with the China investment bubble that has burst, and that brought with it commodities, and that pushed deflation around the world, and those ripples are landing on the shores of countries literally everywhere. Falling oil prices and a collapse in other commodity prices, in part thanks to China's slowing economy, have kept prices low globally over the past year. Economies heavily dependent upon commodity profits have suffered enormously, and the knock-on effects are just now being felt." He added, we got a bubble bursting, I would argue, in Australian housing markets that is beginning to crack. South Africa, the whole economy, Canada, housing and the economy. Brazil, we can keep going on and on, he says. The Bank of England and central bankers in other developed countries are now battling against the toxic deflationary forces that push prices down and threaten to condemn economies to years of stagnation. Inflation in Britain has barely risen above zero over the past year, and for the first time since the 1960s, the country last year dipped into deflation. There are now signs that economic growth in the UK is starting to slow, and London's huge property bubble could be about to burst. Once again, I already knew the housing crash 2.0 was coming. I've discussed this at length I'm sure most of you knew the same thing. And this guy from Yale is now saying these things. Oh, we're starting to look like within months we're going. I wonder what his salary is compared to old Jason Up Forrest. These are the smartest guys in the room. Right. Once again, it is hard for a man to tell the truth when his job depends upon him not telling the truth. So I read that, but there's also from Silver Doctors, they're quoting a piece of that article I just read. And they have a link posted to I think it was one of those TED events. Let me see what this is. I believe it's one of those TED events. Yeah, TEDx. So he's saying the details have come out in warnings posted here and elsewhere, but the Federal Reserve's quantitative easing program changed the metabolism of the global economy. Like a diabetic or a heroin addict, people in the United States and in countries abroad all borrow on cheap credit and face a debilitating spike now that repayment is being demanded, all while oil prices have bottomed out and destroyed the fragile livelihoods of those who depended upon these and other commodity prices. Nightmares are surfacing, entire sectors are being destroyed. New technology is causing extreme upheaval in jobs. And economic warfare is subtly sucking away life and stability from the ranks of the hardworking, aspiring, and once prosperous. You may have known them formerly as the middle class. It is punishing and leveling out all those who haven't learned to work inside the system. All the rest will end up on welfare until that collapses too. Robots will replace millions of jobs in the next few decades. And the title of this TEDx video, Robots Will Steal Your Job, but That's Okay. Really? And they said that's okay, back to Silver Doctors, though, according to the guy in the video, because we're supposed to live in some technologically planned future where computers figure out how to address the needs of everyone. But that's not okay, because that leaves no room for freedom. When you lose the ability to support yourself independently, you become a government serf overnight. And the rest is history. We are being pushed and shoved into a new collectivist state with strikingly few liberties. The criminals who orchestrated the last round of looting in 2008 have grown in power and in wealth in the recent years since, and are now poised to come back for the rest and use finance as a tool to condition societal behavior. Puppeteer bankers, Goldman Sachs admitted that we are entering the third wave of a debt super cycle that has been unleashed through predatory policy. Once they are done, everyone you know will be either working for the government or under close government regulation. Wall Street crimes are instituted as policy, and competition and free enterprise from the little guys is yanked out of the system, and his salary is capped at the level befitting a modern-day serf. The Borg is assimilating the economy and taking everyone as an asset/hostage now. Time to make your final preparations and place any wealth you have in carefully considered positions. And then right underneath that, they have a big, giant, square-like banner, 2016 Silver Eagle, 249 over spot, as low as silverdoctors.com, which would probably mean, if you buy several hundred ounces, you'll get that price. However, 250 over spot is not bad, regardless. Which would to me mean. Matter of fact, let me click on the link. U.S. Mint, American Silver Eagles, Silver Doctors, 1778. Lowest price is $17.78. Now, if you buy 100, you can get them for $269 over spot. less than 100, 285 over spot, and less than 20, $3 or $2.99 over spot. Again, that's not bad, I must say. Silver Doctors, which is sdbullion.com. But long story short, you know it's coming. You know what you need to prepare. Get you some silver or gold. And that's it. Sit back, get some popcorn. Hopefully your job's not one of the ones cut by the robots or any other reason. And you can sit back and watch your wealth increase significantly. Now, I will say, I know Lindsay Williams, if it's written on a piece of paper, when this all goes down, it won't be worth the paper it's written on. But some of the mining companies, the junior miners or whoever, they are so freaking dirt cheap. Man, oh man, oh man, do they stand to rebound. The only question is, here's my question. You go buy some shares somewhere, online, broker, whoever you use. You've got these shares, again, online. They're not in your possession. They never are. They're online in your account, and it says they're worth such and such today. And if the whole damn system's collapsing, and all these brokers are essentially going to be, I don't know about all of them, but are going to be in financial trouble when this all goes down, and you say, oh man, my junior miners are looking great, time to cash out. But your broker, some shenanigans happened, and you thought the shares were in your name, but it was in their name, it's in the street name, and it's not really you, and you're trying to collect and you can. And I don't know that that's going to be an issue or not. But again, if you have physical gold and silver in your possession, you don't have anything to worry about. However, if you think there's an opportunity and you want to potentially, let me put a couple grand or $1,000 or whatever you got into some of these junior miners, go ahead. Because if it somehow remains safe when all this goes down, I may have to go there and say they may perform better than physical gold and silver due to how much they've been slaughtered and where their prices are these days. At the same time, how many of these companies how much cash flow do they have right now? Some of them are hurting. Last thing you want to do is invest in one and then they go belly up or something. It's hard to find some of these guys and pick the right ones. If you want good information on that kind of stuff, I would just subscribe to the Dollar Vigilante. And he has made some really good calls, actually. So, that's it. Take care.